How are you feeling? You got John Riggs here with the TurboGrafx-16 Mini. In this video, I'm going to do an unboxing. We're going to showcase just about every single game on the back of this box and even a few hidden games. There's some games that they're not mentioning on the back of this box, and we'll show you how to access those coming up in this video. This is the Mini TurboGrafx-16 filled with a bunch of games for the TurboGrafx-16, the PC Engine, which is the Japanese version, even the CD games are on here. Interesting to point out, rated M for mature. I might tell you something, this is the Entertainment Super System. Quick unboxing, and then we'll open it up and check out some of these games here. Here's a quick sneak peek. It's surprising that some of the games are missing from this system. Like, we have Bonk's Revenge, we don't have Bonk's Adventure. Curious. We don't have Legendary Axe. That was a staple game for this. We have Alien Crush, but not Devil's Crush, which is okay. These are the games for the TurboGrafx-16 that came out in the United States of America, and then these are the PC Engine games, the import games, the Japanese games that are not translated, which is terrible. However, it's okay. I'm still very curious about this. During the days of the console wars, come on now. During the days of the console wars, you know, Nintendo, Sega, Nintendo's better, Sega's better, Genesis, you know. I had both. And I was also that kid who had a TurboGrafx-16, so I'm very nostalgic for this system. I love it. I absolutely love it. I never had the CD add-on until later in life. And in the late 90s, I had a Turbo Duo, which I absolutely loved. And let's see what we got here. We got the instruction manual, printed, black and white. It's fine by me. This is your controller. Let's have a look-see here. Sweet. USB style, keep that in mind. The cool thing with the turbo pads for the TurboGrafx-16 is it came with turbo controllers. Now, you don't have to use these, but they're built in. It feels fine. There's a run button instead of start, dating back to like the PC days. Comes with a USB micro. That's going to be your power. No wall plug-in or anything, but, you know, that's all right, too. And then here it be. Oh, got the HDMI. I'll probably leave that in there because I already have HDMI cables up the wazoo, up the yin-yang. If you know what I'm saying. Do you not? Okay, that's fine. There it is. Here it is. Super cute. Feels lighter than I expected. I didn't expect it to feel heavy, you know, because the Nintendo Classic isn't heavy. The Genesis Classic isn't heavy. I think they were just using more plastic than needed because they wanted to get the shape of the thing for the aspect ratio and all that. 2 USBs. This is interesting. The original TurboGrafx-16 only had one controller plug-in. So for 2-player games, it only included one controller. But for 2-player games, you got the 2-player game going on there. Especially if, like Dark Dungeon, for instance. Or even, well, in Military Madness, you pass the controller back and forth. Yeah, anyway, that's cool. Your power switch. Hilariously enough, on the TurboGrafx-16, when you turn the power on, that happens like the Game Boy, so you don't pull the game out while the game is playing. But as you can see, there's no actual place to put in the game. And then this back here must be where you can plug it in. You can feed the wire through there, feed the cord through there. That's kind of cool. I don't want to break this thing, but there we go. Little snap on there. Naturally, there's not going to be any ports to plug it. This is where you would plug in your expander or like your CD unit or something like that. But now it's just your USB or your HDMI, sorry, and then your micro USB goes in there and then gets threaded through here or threaded out here, depending on how you want it yours. So neat. All right, never mind about all that. Another very cool feature that I didn't realize until I undid the cord. This is an 8-foot cord for your turbo pad. The one that came with the TurboGrafx-16 was like a 3-foot cord, which didn't get the job done. So props for the longer cord. I appreciate that for sure. So as soon as you choose your language, you are off and running in a very kind of standard issue selection screen, which is fine by me. Got some wallpaper settings you can choose from. I prefer just black, but I might play around with some of these during this video. And then even your display settings, whatever fits your fancy. CRT scan lines if you wish or not. You can stretch it out if you feel like it. And there's even an option for the Turbo Express, which I thought was kind of a fun filter, but we'll avoid that for this video. All right, check out some of these games, starting with Alien Crush. Alien Crush, fantastic video pinball game. Kind of creepy, kind of gruesome. Even has little boss battle type things in here too.
Again, wish they would have included Devil's Crush, but Alien Crush is cool. Well, I'm happy they had this one on there at least. Now, if you had a TurboGrafx-16 back in the day, you'll remember if you hold run and hit select, you'll reset the game. Well, in this, you do that, and it comes to your menu whether you want to save the game in progress, or reset the game by hitting select, or you can also just return to the main menu, or whatever you want to do. Up next, classic shooter, Blazing Lasers, and you're going to see a lot of shooters on this TurboGrafx-16 Mini, but Blazing Lasers is definitely one of the best ones. So awesome, Kanye West was going to name his album Blazing Lasers. Trying out the scan lines, we have Dungeon Explorer. Best way I can describe it is like a Gauntlet, but way better in my opinion. Way better than Gauntlet. You can do multiple players on this one. R-Type, an absolute classic. Wouldn't be a TurboGrafx-16 without R-Type on here. Fun puzzle game here. Chu Man Fu is the name of this game. Chu Man Fu. Never mind the title. Fun game. You have to roll your balls into the squares that match their color. Gotta avoid the enemies. You can kick the ball, or you can just roll it to where you need to go. Super fun, super addicting. Chu Man Fu. Check it out. I have a love-hate relationship with JJ and Jeff. I want to love this game, but man, it's hard. I just can't get anywhere in it, but I keep going back and playing it. It's just wacky and weird. It's based on a Japanese comedy duo. Unfortunately, the Japanese version of the game is not on here. But it's just, I don't know, it's just interesting. If you didn't play it back in the day, you probably won't like it. And I did play it back in the day, and I still kind of don't like it, but I'm going to keep playing it. Maybe I do like it deep down inside. Well, we got Space Harrier. Cool that they added this one on here. Now, it's not the best version of Space Harrier I've ever played. I know it doesn't sound like I'm doing the system a whole lot of good, but, you know, it has Space Harrier, so, okay, that's fun. All right, now you're talking. Bomberman 93. Love Bomberman 93. I love any of the Bomberman games, really. Either the battle mode or even the story mode. I mean, it's just Bomberman, but can't get enough of it. Kind of a fun racing title in Victory Run. You get to choose your upgrades from the beginning of the game, and you just go for it. Now, Military Madness is a tactical strategy game, a genre which I loathe. However, I absolutely love Military Madness. I think it's just because it's simplistic in nature. You just have to get your dudes to the enemy base, that's how you win the round. You go up to the enemies, you attack them based on what platform you are, or if you have higher elevation, you can take advantage of that. Later on levels feature like airplanes and cargo strikes. I mean, it's pretty fun, especially two-player. Now, you're not going to get much more Zelda-y than Nutopia. I'm so glad they added this one on here. This is a game I never had the chance to play through back in the day, so I'll have a chance now with Nutopia. Yeah, and it's total Legend of Zelda. You can't mistake it. We even have Nutopia 2, the sequel to Nutopia. It's more of the same. And this is one I'd never had a chance to play. Can't find it now because it's too expensive for me. So I'll just play it on this and call it good. Another classic game for the TurboGrafx-16, Ninja Spirit. Love Ninja Spirit. It's like the later on Shinobi games. I might like it more than Shinobi. Don't tell Sega I said that. Psychosis. Admittedly, a game I never played. Believe it or not, so I'm looking forward to playing more of this. It's another shooter. I'm okay with that. Splatterhouse. A game I definitely played. I'm not as gung-ho as Splatterhouse as most people are, but you can't deny its popularity and what it did for the kind of blood and guts genre. Love me some Splatterhouse. I'm glad it's on here. Checking out our first Turbo CD game, or Turbo Duo game. This is Ys Book 1 and 2. Love the fact that it even loads up the CD, has that CD sound. Yeah, love it. If you're curious to know what Book 1 and 2 mean, it's basically just Ys 1 and Ys 2. It'd be like if you had The Legend of Zelda, then Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link in the same game. It'd be like Legend of Zelda Books 1 and 2 kind of thing, so... yeah, there you go. You get 2 games for the price of 1, and for the price of the rest of them, since it's on this collection. Not everybody's cup of tea for the fighting method. You have to just cram into them. You don't have a sword button to attack them. You just kind of mosh right into them and take their damage, and hopefully you don't take damage. But super fun game, and love the soundtrack. In fact, sometimes I might think I like the Ys soundtrack more than the Final Fantasy soundtrack. That's saying something. Well, we have Bonk's Revenge. Unfortunately, there's no Bonk's Adventure on here. Yeah, kind of. I'll get to that here in just a second. But Bonk's Revenge, no system would be a better mascot than Bonk, I don't think, for the TurboGrafx-16. You just headbutt enemies or jump up and crash their head into them. Again, this is just your classic platformer style and great game. We got this one from Working Designs. Gotta love Working Designs. Cat Ash, a game I've always heard a lot about, and again, in a game I didn't really get a chance to play back in the day, so looking forward to giving this another shot, but as you can see, it looks and plays like this. It's too bad it's not a gelatinous cube. Alright. Parasol Stars, this is the story of Bubble Bobble 3. And as you can see, man, it's about as bubble bobble as you can get. But you have your umbrella, your parasol, and that's what you can use to defeat enemies or float with it. I mean, it's a fun one. A lot of great memories playing Parasol Stars back in the day. Remember Bonk? Well, this is Zonk, as in Air Zonk. This is one of the hardest games to find for the TurboGrafx-16, so again, glad they had it on here. Plays like a shooter, of all things, but I'm looking forward to playing this even more. New Adventure Island, you say? Well, it plays like Adventure Island. Alright, I'm cool with that. The best soundtrack you've never heard is only if you haven't played Lords of Thunder. This is a CD game, and if you like Yngwie Malmsteen, you'll love the soundtrack to Lords of Thunder, and on top of that, it's one of the best shooters out there. Super fun shooter for sure. And even though I skipped over a couple of games along the way, just when you thought that was the end of the selection, schwapang! Now we're into the imports, and we gotta check out some of these for sure. Even though they are imports, many of them, most of them I will say, you can still play without needing to know any Japanese whatsoever. We're gonna start off with Snatcher, one of my favorite games of all time. Well, unfortunately, this game's not going to do you a whole lot of good unless you know Japanese. You can kind of point and click around and keep hitting things until something happens, but man, I wish they had the English translation version of this on here. To make up for it, we got Spriggan Mark II. Super, super awesome shooter. Again, like I said, the system's known for its shooters, man. We got Super Parodier. This one plays kind of like Twinbee, but you can play as like Bomberman. You can actually play as a PC Engine if you want. But just like I said, another fun shooter. A lot of shooters on the system. I'm not kidding you. Well, this game's called Sapphire. I mean, there's more to the title than that, but let's just call it Sapphire. Choose from your shooter, and then guess what? Another shooter. However, this one has awesome special effects, especially for its time. Definitely worth playing. Another Bomberman game. You have Bomberman Panic Bomber. This one plays like a puzzle game, and you just have to match 3 in a row, and sometimes you'll get bombs, which will help you out and hurt them along the way. This is a fun one. The Genji and the Heiki clans, I think this game is called. It plays kind of like a Legend of Kage, kind of. I know this game best because it was featured in a Game Center CX episode, so fun that they had this on here because it gave me a chance to play it. It's not The Legend of Zelda, this is The Legend of Valkyrie. Legend of Valkyrie. Fun game here. Glad that this one's on here as well. It plays like it shows. This is called something or other Gate Ball, and it's that game like this, like croquet, I guess? I'm sure there's more to it than that, but it's a game I hadn't heard of until I played it on this. Now we had Bomberman 93 in the US section. Here we have Bomberman 94. There we go. Got Bomberman 93 and 94 well represented. I had this one back in the day, and happy it's on here too. Galaga 88. Well, it's Galaga, but 88. It's an updated version of Galaga. You'll love it. Another one of those games I wish we could play because it looks so cool. It's called Necromancer, and it's all in Japanese. Oh, man. You recognize this game? Well, you will here. Yeah, the PC Engine version of Ninja Gaiden. Gotta love that. Different soundtrack, plays a little differently, but it seems to be about the same game. Now, remember when I said that there wasn't Bonk's Adventure? Well, I kind of lied. There is, but only in the import section. But you don't need to know Japanese to play this game. So if you wanted to play Bonk's Adventure, the first one, it's under the import section under PC Genjin. Superstar Soldier, another shooter. This one's a fun one. We have a game called The Kung Fu, which looks like a 9-year-old built it in Macromedia Flash back in 2003, but that's alright. Is it called Aldines? Aldines? Something like that? This is for the SuperGrafx, and they've included some SuperGrafx games on here. It looks like a fun shooter to me. I haven't had a chance to play this much, but I never had a SuperGrafx, so I never had a chance to play this, and I never had a chance to play Ghouls and Ghosts for the SuperGrafx. So we got the SuperGrafx version of Ghouls and Ghosts. Cool. Another Spriggan game. This is like Siri Senshi Spriggan? Alright. I'm cool with more shooters. And if you love shooters, Super Darius. Yeah, I got another shooter on the list. These enemies to me always look like Gundam heads. Now this shooter is called Cho Iniki, and it features some very, very interesting visuals. I will let you discover the game for yourself. Decent shooter, interesting visuals in Cho Iniki. Google it sometime, seriously. Or maybe don't. Maybe you want to Bing it, so you don't have a Google tracing it. What made me consider the best Castlevania game of all time, Dracula X Rondo of Blood, available here, and it's just awesome. If you ever played Castlevania X for the Super Nintendo, it's like that, but this one's way better. The classic Dragon Spirit. You may have played this in the arcade or even on the NES, but we have Dragon Spirit. To me, this is like the defining version of it. Well, not quite. The arcade game might be. The resolution's a little off, but if you hold select, and this is where we're going to get into the hidden games, if you hold select and press start to when you start the game, you'll get the more vertical dealio. So looks like it's the same graphics, but it's just, you know, the resolution's squished. And this is the way I remember playing it in the arcade. Fantasy Zone, classic game from Sega. Love this one. And same idea. If you hold select and hit run, you'll get kind of a better version of Fantasy Zone. You can get like what you played at home and then maybe what you played in the arcade. Salamander you might know better as Lifeforce, and this is, well, it's exactly that. It's Lifeforce for the TurboGrafx-16. Again, when you hold select and press run, you'll get a more arcade accurate version with maybe better sound and better visuals. Along that trend, Gradius, classic game. Love that it's on here. Again, hold select and press run. You'll get this version of it. And then we have Gradius 2, which was a CD game in Japan. And I love this game. It's super hard, so I can't get very far in it at all. And I was like, maybe this will have the arcade version or whatever of Gradius 2. But on the CD games, when you hold select and hit run, it gives you this is not the right system card setting. Please insert the right system card or this CD will not work. And I thought that was interesting. That's amazing. So I wanted to try that with a couple more games. So I grabbed the version of Lords of Thunder. It says the same thing. This is what it looks like when you don't have the system card in there. Now, learning about this, I was so happy to find out that they did this for Dracula X Rondo of Blood. I used to have that game without the right system card, so I got to play Stage X. Now, Stage X it features music that's nowhere else in the game, so it features a very cool song that you're not able to hear anywhere else unless you don't have the right system card. But this is just wacky, crazy, kooky fun. And you just get to the end and it just tells you, sorry, you gotta have the right system card to play this game. So that was the thing with the TurboGrafx-16 CD or the PC Engine CD, is you have to have the right system card to play certain games. So if you had system card 1 and not system card 2, well, you weren't able to play the game. You'll get this little skit, get this little skit instead. And remember that Cho and Nikki game I was talking about, the one with the interesting visuals? When I held select and hit run to see what it would do for put in the right system card, well, that's the screen I got. There you go. All right. Such a cool system, and I thank you for watching. If you dig seeing a lot of games all at once for specific systems, check out my playlist of some must-play games for different systems, and make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you very soon.